Welcome to Monday Jazz and Conversation, presented by a collaboration of 4 nonprofit organizations: Gold Coast Jazz Society, South Florida Jazz, Sunshine Jazz Organization, and the Miami Jazz Cooperative, all of whom are dedicated to bringing jazz to South Florida audiences. Each Monday, Wendy Peterson and Nick Yorda feature the music and talk to the country's most talented and interesting jazz musicians.
So we welcome Ira from his home in Miami to celebrate his 89th birthday with us online. Hello, Ira Sullivan. Happy birthday.
Hey. Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Nicole Henry. Woo!
Hello.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome John Fedchuk to the hang.
Hi, everybody. Great to be here.
The amazing and beautiful and the world's best person, Brenda Alford.
Hi, Brenda.
Live up to that.
Okay, I got some living to do.
The very incredible guitar player, Mr. Go ahead, you do it.
Jonathan Kreisberg.
How are you?
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Please welcome to Jazz and Conversation the amazing Joe Donato. Joey D!
Hello.
How are you? I'm so
Good evening,
sad
ladies and
that
gentlemen.
we gave
This
you
is Ralph
stress.
Edwards, and tonight it's Joe Donato. This is your life.
And now, the hosts of Monday Jazz and Conversation, Wendy Peterson and Nick Yorda.
Hello. Happy Monday. Welcome back to another edition.
Yes.
The quarantine edition. Actually, we're not.
Pre-Thanksgiving edition. How about
Well, that is true. It is. Can you believe it's already Thanksgiving? That is the scary thing. The really scary thing.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, but we have good news. We have like a fantastic guest tonight. Somebody that I have known for so very long. I was trying to think about when we would have met, and I know you probably have known him longer than
I've known him since my college days. In fact, the song for the countdown that during that Dream Chart was performed by our college band under the direction of John Giorgini.
Right,
the
that
top
was
secret
Miami-Dade.
jazz band, Miami-Dade.
Miami-Dade College, and
Kendall,
so
And,
Greg
yeah.
was in it.
Greg
You
was
were
in
in
it,
it.
yeah.
Mike Orta was
Yeah.
in it.
Oh, it was a whole host of.
Name some more because
Raymond Casales was in it. Bobby Martinez, Camilo Valencia, Rafael Solano. Yeah, John Cricker. I mean, it goes on and on.
It's so interesting because how much times have changed, because it used to be that that was like a huge feeder into U of M.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
it was
it
like
was.
everybody went through that band. The things
Yep.
have changed, but you know what's different is I'm realizing is high school jazz bands
Right.
have gotten like so much more better and.
Speaking of the devil here.
Oh,
hey, Rafa.
Rafael Solano's in the house. Anyway, we want to introduce our amazing guest because it is Greg Diaz, who I had the pleasure of being in a group with. It was the Mad Romance Jazz Vocal Quartet, and he's a fantastic singer. He's an amazing sax player.
Yep.
He's an arranger. He's a songwriter. He's a band leader. The man does it all.
He does it all.
It's really annoying. I gotta say, nobody should be good at that many things.
Right.
But what we're going to do first, before we bring him on, is we're going to play a little something so you can kind of know him musically before we know him personally.
And this is Circadia from his last album called Begin the Agora. And this is his, what is it?
Art of Imagination Jazz Orchestra. Yes. Yes, so let's just meet him. Let's jump right in. Please welcome Greg Diaz. Hey.
Who are you guys?
Welcome. What are you doing?
I don't know.
Why are you
I don't know. That's
Hey, first things first. Let's answer this question.
Who's the drummer in that band?
Matt Cauldron.
Matt Cauldron. There we go.
Very nice.
And I wanted you. We didn't. I don't think you saw it, but Orlando Hernandez, when I was introducing you,
Wait.
was saying, and I was saying you're this, you're that, you're the other, and he said, and he's hot. So there you go.
Oh,
His secret's revealed. All right.
There you go. So that was your composition, your original
Yes.
composition, and your arrangement.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it
That's
was.
amazing. How long does it take you usually to arrange something for a big band?
It depends on how the idea strikes me. There's some things, if it's just an arrangement, sometimes I'll get a body, just a general sense of how I'm gonna write up a melody, whether it's gonna be low key or if I'm gonna stack everything thick. It's usually kind of a combination of the two. But there's some vocal arrangements I've done very quickly, like within 2 hours, and then there's some that have taken weeks just because I wasn't happy with. I'd wake up the next day and then I'd do the playback on Sibelius and say, oh no, that's not that doesn't pass the mustard.
Right. That's so amazing. And the other thing I've always admired about you four is that it's stylistically it's everywhere.
Very diverse. Yeah.
It's you sing jazz just as well as you sing pop and R&B and funk and it's just an incredible thing that you just feel so comfortable like across the
Spectrum.
The spectrum.
Yeah.
There you go. I'm on the spectrum.
Now we were talking, Greg. I met you during our college years,
Yeah.
but you were, as far as I knew, then you were just playing. When did you get into the singing?
Actually, I've been into the singing before I played.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't start playing a wind instrument until I was in 7th grade.
Oh wow.
So, but I've been singing since I was very little.
And so you're one of those. Well, actually, Dave Fernandez also is one of them. But you were actually born and raised here in Miami, and like we have a lot of transplants. So where did you go to high school?
I went to high school at Miami Sunset.
Okay. And is that where you started playing the sax?
No, I started playing the saxophone when they didn't call it middle school; they called it junior high.
Yes.
So this was W.R. Thomas.
Okay.
1974.
Okay. Yeah. And so it was like one of those things, because you know what, I was in my junior high school. I also was in the band, and so it was just one of those things that you decided, hey, I want to play the saxophone, or was it given to you, or how did you come to the saxophone? I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I actually wanted to play drums. That was my original love, and I wanted to do that. And I was told by whoever was at the elementary school when I was in 6th grade. They said, "Well, you'll need 2 years of experience." And actually, that wasn't really right. But they said, "Well, you could play trumpet or tuba." And then my father, who always wanted to be a saxophone player, whispered in my ear, saying, "No, why don't you play saxophone? You'll like saxophone." And my father had recordings of Earl Bostic. He also had recordings of Stanley Turrentine. A lot of different tenor players, and I grew up listening to that. I grew up listening to charanga music. I grew up listening to a lot of big band stuff, and that was playing around the house since as long as I can remember.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, let's show a picture, shall we, of young Greg Diaz, so we can just get the whole picture, the whole sense. So put that full screen just so we can see it a little better. Oh my goodness.
Tell us tell us everything you remember about this band.
I wanted I actually wanted to take a swim in the canal, and my mother was like, no, you're not going there.
You're a little too young for that.
Oh, that's so incredible.
And that's my younger sister who my mother is carrying,
Yeah.
and we're Irish twins. We're 10.5 months apart.
Oh, wow. But she looks so much smaller than you, but I guess you were small at that point, yeah.
Yeah.
So you grew up in a musical household. If your dad was, kind of playing that kind of stuff, were any of them musicians?
No. Well, my mother was in the chorus. My father always wanted to play saxophone,
Okay.
and he actually even brought one home to his mother. And this was when he was still living in Havana, and she wouldn't have anything to do with it because there were a lot of stereotypes back then.
Right.
So that was the last time he brought an instrument home, at least in front of her. So, but he always wanted to play, but he never really got the opportunity.
So you kind of carried the torch.
So to speak, yes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
let's take a look at this other picture because he just seems a bit mischievous in this one. I don't know.
Yeah.
It might be me. I might be reading into it.
Ooh, that's my Paul Warfield jersey.
Oh, Paul Warfield, right? Sure. Miami Dolphins, baby.
Okay.
Yes.
We're kind of okay again, even though we lost this week. Another story.
That is another
show
story.
Down, so.
Yes.
Yeah, I can say from being in a group with Greg that he is a little mischievous.
Mm-hmm.
I would say.
And so,
For sure.
you said, so who was your first, would you say, big jazz influence? I'm sure you were listening to all sorts of music, but specifically jazz. Who's sort of moved you?
Who moved me at first? When I first started listening to Phil Woods, because I actually listened to him before I even listened to Cannonball Adderley, Charlie Parker, and I didn't think anyone could play like that. And of course, I was very young at the time, but my father actually got me a Phil Woods album when I was 9 or 10, and I always loved saxophone, but I really wanted to be a drummer. Which, by the way, don't if you're thinking of hiring somebody, don't ever hire me as a drummer.
See, I was about to ask you whether you ever
No.
pursued that. Because
No,
some
that was a bad
people-
idea.
I'm always surprised when you're like Michael Brecker, was a very good drummer. Chick Corea, so there are people that they actually manage to do that other instrument that they love, even though they're not known for it.
You feel like you would have.
Oh,
been.
I would have been. If I hadn't taken to the bass, I would have been a drummer, no doubt.
Yeah. No, yeah, I wouldn't doubt that. And if things happened the way I thought they would happen, then yeah, I mean, I would have really applied myself there. But I mean, I can fool around on drums,
Right.
but and I have a good sense of time, but because my technique really is awful on drums, it'll sound like I have really bad time. And you can make an argument that, okay, maybe that guy doesn't have time. I don't know.
Right, of course.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny thing. But do you ever on gigs, like when some of the drummer needs to take a break, do you ever sit in for him like some people do a lot?
Sure, if it's for a ballad and I'm playing brushes.
Of course.
You're the guy. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, can we play show a picture of young Greg with the saxophone?
Yes.
So we
Uh-oh.
can. Yes, which was in the video that you just played, but that is just. Did you get that for Christmas or something, or like because it is Christmas time?
I did. I actually did. I got the alto for Christmas. I was renting a saxophone at the junior high, where I was, and my father surprised me with an alto sax, and
Wow.
I was very happy. I still have that leisure suit that I'm wearing.
The question is, can you still wear it?
No
Will you?
way. If I could, I would, because I'm kind of like that. But but no, I was a small kid. I didn't didn't reach puberty until much later.
That explains so much.
It does. It does. I gave it right to you too.
Yep. Later. And while we're looking at things, we had spoken before about the Miami-Dade band, and there is a nice picture here from the album that we did record. And so you could see we're all young and thin and with a lot more hair.
It's
Yes.
so incredible.
So there you see Scott Klarman's over there, Giorgini, and Mitch Farber, Carlos Vega. I mean, just such a nice band that we had back then.
Yeah.
Not a bad way to start one's career, you know.
Oh no, not at all. No, he's John Giorgini is definitely one of my mentors. There's no question about it.
And you went to U of M after that?
I did for a short time, and then I dropped out. Which it was a part of my life where I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I was actually an electrical engineering major when I was in college.
Really?
Yes, really.
Get on with your bad self.
So did you complete that, or did you switch somewhere?
I actually ended up switching, and it was after I actually started interning for different companies, and I always wanted to design. I guess it's part of that. You want to create something. Yeah. And when I was doing the interning, I was doing all the differential equations that the older people who were in the who were partners in the group, they didn't use the application, so they ended up forgetting some of the stuff. So I did and I wasn't the only one. There were other people, but I did all the differential equations, and they did the designing. And when I asked one of the partners, I said, I would love to design one of these days. And he basically, he didn't say it in a very condescending tone, but he did. He was like very clear about, the designing is really for the partners, and it kind of it threw me for a loop. And I actually worked in different places where they pretty much said the same thing. So I was very disappointed, and it just turned me off. So that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to go into music. Okay. Which, up until last year, it was working okay.
Speaking of which, let's just get this right out of the way. We always do have a tip jar, and you'll sometimes during the videos you'll see it kind of scrolling. At the bottom of the screen, and this is our one way of trying to keep some musicians employed during this time. So literally since March, right? When was your last gig? Do you recall what the date of your last gig? It's kind of like one of those things. Do you remember where you were when JFK was shot, or whatever happened? It's kind of like this. Do you remember what day your last gig was?
Well, I've been doing gigs here and there, but they've been all outdoors. Right. And I also did. There were actually a couple of outdoor weddings, very small, about 12 guests. And I've also done some ceremonies, and like I said, almost all of them were outdoors. I think one I did that was inside, but there were very few people, and
and so what would you say the percentage of what you normally do during the season
compared to what I do? Oh God.
Yeah. It's bleak.
0.1. I don't know.
0.00.
Yes.
Yeah, it's way down.
Yeah. So my point is that we try to show the love of all we can. This is like a gig for Greg tonight. Yeah. So we want to make sure Greg gets paid decently for the time that we're torturing him this evening. So we're trying to make it as uncomfortable as some gigs you've had. That's really what it is. But so please support and show Greg some love. All of the money that we receive tonight will go directly to Greg. We don't take anything. It just all will go to Greg, and actually the first $100 will be matched. So it could be a really nice little way for him.
Could be a sweet gig.
Sweet torture. But so what you have to do is you have to text the word tip jar. So where you would send the message, you put tip jar, and where you would put the number that you're sending it to, you would use 44321. And then you receive right away. You'll receive a message back that takes you to a direct link where it's very safe and secure to send whatever. There's no it's this or that or the other. You can give whatever you want, and the first $100 will be matched.
Yep.
Once again, the word tip jar to the number 44321, and we can show our musicians and our our family some love, especially for the holidays. So whatever you can do would be greatly appreciated.
But
I'm
now
sure.
the one caveat there, Greg, is that you're going to have to earn it, man.
That's
so
right.
How about playing something for us? What do you think?
Ooh, sing for your supper, baby.
Wow, you didn't say this before. No.
Oops.
Oh my goodness.
All right. How about a composition by Thelonious Monk? Monk's Dream.
Okay, I love that song.
I'm running out of room in this. Okay. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So good, so good.
Oh, wow! I haven't played in 8 months. No, it just feels that way.
Isn't that?
It doesn't sound that way.
It does not sound that way at all. Absolutely.
Sounds so good, man.
Thank you.
Yep.
What, so after you got out of, once you decided to be a musician for reals, oh, look, Lisanne says, shut up, doodly doobot, doodot, jazz hands, miss you, man.
What a horrible thing to say. Just horrible.
We're going to talk about you later, Lisanne, when we get to the mad romance section of his life. But what was your first gigs? Like, what was your experience? How did you come to this point in your life?
Well, my first gigs were actually in high school. I was in a rock band with a bunch of people who went to school with me. It was rhythm section from Sunset High. We would do these parties for, really very little money. Eventually, when we graduated, we ended up doing a little bit of the club circuit, Big Daddies, and that's kind of where I got my start. And then I stopped when I started going to college.
Okay.
And I didn't start up again until a couple of years later. I mean, I was playing in the college ensembles, but I wasn't really gigging at the time.
Right,
I didn't gig until a little later. But then after that, there were people who actually they actually heard me sing, and they wanted me to front groups for them. So I was doing that for my early 20s, and it ended up getting me a short-term gig with Benny King, where he needed somebody to play saxophone, stretch out a little bit, and also do some harmonies. So that was actually a lot of fun.
I always tell whenever I see musicians, at like Miami-Dade where I teach, I always tell them the best thing you can ever do for yourself is to also be able to sing. Whether you're a front man or not,
Sure.
to be able to hold harmony, to be able to feel comfortable singing is so important, because it really could make a difference between, a gig or not a gig. There's so many jobs that you can get, when
It really
you can
helped
sing.
my career a lot.
But you did sing in a lot of bands.
Yes.
I was drafted to do background vocals.
But you always, and dance. I know that.
And
I know
yes,
that for a
that's true.
fact.
Okay, never mind. You're right. I was being snarky, but it's true. I got that lesson early in life too.
Yeah, of
as much as I resisted.
You
Thanks,
gotta
Ida Semmel.
but it's true. You got it.
Yeah.
Gotta
do what you gotta do.
The more versatile you are,
Yeah.
the better.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And so you were doing bands. When did you really start realizing you liked writing and arranging and whatnot?
Yeah, I was kind of late to that, but probably my late 20s. That's when once I started writing. First I started arranging things, just
Okay.
little like trios, quartets. But when I started writing tunes, that was a thought in my head, is you could do a little more. So I wrote a lot of small group. I wrote a lot of small group stuff, and I was, at the time when I was doing, when I decided I was going to write for larger ensembles and even big bands, I got a little lazy with it, because of course, before Sibelius, you actually had to
Yes.
write your
Work.
own score. It was really work.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, I would come up with every excuse in the book. My hand's cramped, whatever you could think of. But eventually it was kind of like it was like the create bug. It's like, okay. And once I really got into it, I couldn't really stop doing it, because I would get an idea and say, okay, I'll sit down to the piano and I'll start thinking about either bass lines or how I'm going to stack a harmony, or if I'm just going to, should it be octaves or unisons? And now I can't get it out of my head, no matter
Right.
how hard I try.
You can't block it out.
No, I can't.
Oh my goodness. Let's hear a little something. Let's play a video of Greg singing.
Okay. Which one do you want to do? Do you want to get right into the Mad Romance thing?
We could. You want to talk about Mad Romance
I think we
now?
should talk about that. I mean, I know we're jumping around a little bit chronologically. However, this is quite the display of vocal prowess, and of course it's just the idea of being part of a vocal group. That was the main focus of this band, although you and Rick both played other instruments in it.
Had you ever done like a jazz vocal quartet or group kind of choir before or anything like that, or was this your first?
Just I was in a jazz ensemble that was, a lot like what the University of Miami had, but it was pretty large, and you had like four people per part. For me it was overkill, but
Right.
that was my experience, and it's funny because I first met Rick 2002.
Rick Harris, we should
Rick
mention.
Harris. Yes, I'm sorry, Rick Harris. Yeah, it's the guy all the way on the left.
Yeah.
So we were both at a wake for a teacher over at Miami-Dade College, and he was playing with Jack Keller, and playing some tunes, and we got to talking. I sat in. I don't remember what tune I sang, but I guess it drew Rick's attention because he said, "Look, I have a vocal jazz quartet," and we were doing a lot of things in when I was living in Washington D.C., and we recorded a couple of albums. And I said, "Look, I'd really like to send you something." And I said, "Great." Now at the time, I thought my first idea was, okay, this guy's full of it. I had no idea,
Well, yeah.
and then 1 week later, because I give him my address,
Yeah.
sure enough, he
You get to
sends
see
me
it.
the whole package, and I was completely blown away by how good this group was.
Man,
and I
he-
said, "Wow, I gotta be a member of this."
He writes so well. I mean, for that kind of stuff, and
And can you tell me what you're doing in this next photo?
he's getting down.
Oh, that's
He's kicking a fan off the stage. That was getting a little bit too
They're just off screen.
Somebody's just
No,
getting a
that's-
little.
that's called temporary sciatica paralysis. I don't know what that was. I really don't.
You were enjoying yourself. That's all
I-
that we need.
I hope so, because otherwise it's like, why am I doing that?
Yeah. Well, you look like you're definitely doing something. I'm not sure what it is, but let's give.
And
the
I got
audience-
sneakers on.
You do. That is pretty cool, I gotta
Yeah.
say. Let's give the audience a little snippet of what you guys did as a group. This is Mad Romance, and then we'll play one of your features.
Cool.
Truth was mine, joyous, free, and flaming life, forsooth was mine, sad am I, glad am I.
Life's a beautiful thing,
What do
as long as I hold this string, I'd be a silly so and so.
Well, you've got the love I need so much. Got the skin I love to touch. Got the arms to hold me tight. Got the sweet lips to kiss me goodnight. Oh, from this moment on, you and I, babe, we'll be flying high, babe. Every care is gone from this moment on. Da da da. The thrill is gone. Ya no me quieras nunca más.
is gone. I can see it in your eyes, I can hear it in your sighs. Feel your touch and realize the thrill is gone. The night is cold and love's grown old. Love was grand when love was new. Birds were singing, skies were blue. Now they don't appeal to you. The thrill is gone. This is the end, so why pretend? Let it linger on. The thrill is gone. The thrill is gone. The thrill is gone. I can see it in your eyes. I can hear it in your sighs. Feel your touch and realize the thrill is gone. The night love's grown old. Love was grand when love was new. Birds were singing, skies were blue. Now they don't appeal to you. The thrill is gone. This is the end, so why pretend? Let it linger on. The thrill is
Wow.
Let me tell you.
Wow. That's,
Do you have your phone volume on?
oh, yeah.
Not anymore.
I can tell you that I honestly, well, you probably know from working with me, I am such a lazy person. I had to work so hard to keep up with you guys in this group. I just had to shed and shed and shed and shed. That was such hard music. Oh my gosh.
It was
And
hard.
You have perfect pitch and it was hard for you, you know.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We forgot to add
Yes.
that.
No, it's hard just getting used.
Another reason why we hate you. Perfect pitch.
No, it's it. Well, get
My
in
way of
line,
getting
get
back
in
at
line.
him is by playing fretless bass.
There you go. Even Lisanne. Lisanne says that was a tough chart. Oh, my gosh, it was.
Yeah, it was. No, I mean, the thing I wasn't used to, we're having the voicing so close, and you know,
We're
I'm always
half
next
steps,
to you, Wendy,
yeah.
and then you know we're doing minor seconds, and that took me a while to. Okay, I mean, I know where the note is, and then sometimes it's like, okay, are you sure that's
What
a
was
minor
your feeling
I'm not
about
sure.
those close
And I had to like,
Oh,
okay,
I love a good rub.
woohoo!
Yes, that's my favorite. I do. I love dissonance. I really do. There's something about that is just. I guess maybe it's just so satisfying when it resolves. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's kind of, those
Absolutely.
are the sort of interesting notes, right? I mean, because the melody is going to be there and the bass is what it is,
Yeah.
but those inner
Yeah.
voices,
Yeah,
you know.
and I don't even consider minor seconds to be dissonant when they're stacked. You know,
Yeah.
if it's a minor 9 or it's a
Yeah.
minor second for another chord, I don't hear that as being dissonant on its own. But when it's just the two voices,
Yeah.
because sometimes it's the bottom and then just the two voices and then maybe a third above that,
Right,
and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I really have to hear where my note is, and that was one of the biggest challenges for me. I had to like just say, look, hear it in your head,
Well-
and it took a while.
Well, for me, what would happen is I would work on it on my own, and I had those crazy inner parts that really are not melodic. It doesn't
No.
feel like music, and so not until I actually got with you guys
Right, yeah,
and
practicing
heard
on
what
those,
my
sure.
function was, like what that note was doing, then it like all of a sudden it like just crystallized, like, okay, so now it all makes sense. One, I'm doing that, and that made it better. So it definitely.
Right.
I needed to actually shed with you guys also. I mean, I had to do the work beforehand too, but it was great. It was a lot of fun. It was. It taught me some discipline.
No.
I've
I
lost
tell you what,
it.
you're
I've
yeah,
lost
no,
it
you're
since,
not.
but
You're not the only one. So when I would go through, I mean, there were charts, and I'd say, oh yeah, not a big deal, and I would I mean, there were things that I would be able to sight read through, and they weren't. At least I didn't think they were that hard. But then when you put all the parts together, and it's like, okay, are you sure where your note is? And that was the
Right.
thing that I needed to get used to, and that's why getting together and actually doing it as a 4-piece vocal group, that was very important for me.
We worked,
especially early on.
we put a lot of work went into getting that stuff that tight and that
It was a
feeling.
labor of love, that's
Yeah,
for sure.
it really was, and I do miss it.
There was a little bit of talk about a possible reunion. It may still happen.
Well, we
depending on
did
how
a
things go.
reunion like 2
No, I'm
years
talking
ago?
about a
new
new reunion,
reunion.
an
Yeah.
online reunion.
Right.
But
well,
remains to be seen.
We'll see.
These are difficult times.
We can only hope.
Who's the holdup? It's not me. It's not me.
Yes, yeah, that was just so much fun. Somebody was asking about the drums. That was Orlando Hernandez who was watching.
That was
before.
Orlando. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I
believe.
did not know that.
Yeah,
Man, killing
Yeah,
everybody.
and then but the percussion was who was percussion?
I think it was Edwin Bonilla.
Yeah, I think it was.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Edwin Bonilla, and those were two separate sessions because I think the later session, the rhythm section recorded at Echo Beach in Jupiter,
Right.
and the earlier session was over at Mike Levine's studio, and Mark Griffith played drums on those.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Just great band. And Jamie Owsley on bass.
And Jamie Owsley, absolutely. Oh
Yeah.
man, yes.
Jamie Owsley.
Owsley. Yes.
Yeah, we've got some talent. We always say it every week when we start hearing our peeps.
Yeah.
It's like they're
It's
like
true.
we've got some talented musicians
many.
here in town.
So many good stuff. So much
no
good
question.
stuff.
Yep. Hey, tell me about the song "Dreamer."
That was a dedication to my father. He passed away August. It was actually the middle of August 2007, and that was actually one of those tunes. While I was grieving, I couldn't. It was almost like somebody put this melody in my head. It wasn't anything that I said, okay, let's write this. It actually was in my head, and I just went home and said, okay, I'm gonna let me actually write this out, and I wrote an earlier version of it, and I played it. I performed it for my dad's wake, and then I guess about 4 or 5 years later, actually maybe not that, maybe it was 3 years later, I went into the studio and I recorded it. Very, very, very poignant, but it describes my father to a T. He was a dreamer. He wanted to be an entrepreneur, which he was for a short time. But he never, he was always one of those guys who strived and almost got there. And then unfortunately, his time was up. It was actually very sudden, but the melody, it was literally like an hour after I heard the news. This melody was coming out of my yes.
Wow.
It was I've never felt anything like that before, ever.
How interesting.
Let's listen to "Dreamer," dedicated to your father. This is by Greg Diaz. beautiful song.
Thank you.
So through the magic, you see, this is just how cool this is. While we were listening to that, you actually sent Nikki some pictures of your dad and your mom, so we can take a look at them.
Yeah.
Really, really beautiful couple. Both of them are just gorgeous. Look at that, and then the wedding photos.
Oh, that's nice.
Now, when we know where you get your good, why you're so hot, I guess, as Orlando would say.
I was going to say I'd take after my uncle.
Those are beautiful pictures.
Yeah, really.
Look at that. Unbelievable.
This is my favorite part of the show is just to getting to see a little, behind the scenes of how everybody came to be, their parents, they're growing up, it's just such a cool thing that this is the one good thing that has come out of the pandemic. I'm sure there are many others, but it's such a cool thing to every week we get to learn so much about people that we've known forever, which is just such a cool thing. You have how many records out?
By the way, people who want to check out some more of your material, this is probably the best place to go, right?
It's the best place to go. I'm also on Apple Music. Just type in Greg Diaz and the Art of Imagination. It should come up. Because there's another Greg Diaz who's a folk singer out in Colorado.
I thought you were
and
going to
there's
say
also
porn
a
star.
jazz trumpet player. There's a jazz trumpet player out in California too, by the
Okay.
same
wow.
name.
And they can get Begin the Agora, your latest CD, I should say?
That's the latest one. I was going to put out before all this insanity started. I was actually going to put out another big band that was going to be 4 big band tunes and then 1 small group. In fact, the one that we just played, Dreamer, I was going to add that too because that was in the same mastering group, and it didn't. It just didn't work out. So what I'm going to do is do a compilation that's going to have pretty much everything, and I will have. So there'll be a hard copy, which would most likely be a CD, and then also Apple Music. I'm going to try to stream it through all the other streaming services. For some reason, when I signed with CD Baby and they were doing all the distribution, they didn't put anything on the other streaming services, only Apple Music.
Okay.
And it was because they had a hard time realizing that Greg Diaz and the Art of Imagination Jazz Orchestra were actually the same group. And I've had this conversation with them at least 3 times. Right. And they said, no, we understand. It's our algorithm that's assuming that they're 2 separate entities.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Well, you definitely need to rectify that situation because we know
I've been
that
trying.
the
Yes.
big money comes from streaming.
Oh, goodness. Oh, my goodness.
Those checks, boy, when they come in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just don't know what to do with all that money.
Yeah.
You don't, it's not necessary. That check for 46 cents could actually help.
It takes more to send it,
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, it does.
That's true.
Yes, it does.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of that, we can remind everybody that our tip jar
Oh, yes. Let's do that,
is
shall we?
available in case you want to show some love to Greg.
Yeah, and I think just if you could briefly explain it just once more because it seems that always
I know
something
it is
gets
weird.
lost
It is,
in the...
it is weird. Text the word tip jar to the number 44321.
Yes.
So the number that you're sending it to is 44321. And the message is tip jar, and it should automatically send something back to you.
It'll send you a link, right?
A link, yeah. It definitely works because I've done it a lot.
I think Greg needs to play. I think he's slacking off here.
Right.
No, that's terrible.
Yeah, actually, what are you going to play for us?
Oh,
I love the way you put that. It's not, are you going to play for us?
What are you
gonna
going to?
play
There's no options here. There's no choices.
there never is. Welcome to Determinism 101.
I love it.
Oh, we're going to talk politics now, are we? No, we're not. No, not with you especially.
I have after this, there's a video that I'm very intrigued about the title. Okay, anyway, what do you have for us, Greg?
Well, I was going to play something that you played at the very beginning, but because you played it at the very beginning, I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to think of another ballad really quickly.
Look at that. This is a pro in action right
That's
here.
right.
He's just running through, loads and loads of songs in his head. Boom, he's going to hit us with the perfect one for our audience. Like I said. Greg Diaz.
Greg Diaz. Okay. Here's some music by David Brubeck. This one's called In Your Own Sweet Way.
So
Yes,
good.
indeed.
It's so nice to hear you play.
Thank you. It's very nice of you to say.
Well,
I
I'm
know.
lying through my teeth.
I know you are. I know you.
No, it's not true.
You're talented, man.
Yeah, it's definitely annoying. Like
Yeah,
I
well,
said.
you know how they say. I know you are, but what am I?
Exactly.
Hey, so what are your plans once the whole COVID thing sort of dies down a little bit? Hopefully, with these vaccines coming up, are you missing live gigging?
Well, yeah, absolutely. I'm in the interim, I'm looking to actually do a website that I actually own, and also with a server that I trust, because I'm not really sold on servers like GoDaddy. So I'm getting some help from people who are actually they've actually had their websites done, and they're not music sites per se, but that way I know I'm not going to get because I've had issues with websites that I've had in the past, and there would be things that would be taken down, and I mean, most of it was unintentional, but I want to be able to rely on a server that I know is going to,
Right.
is going to be faithful to the people who are actually providing content. That's
Right.
all.
Yep.
Okay.
And here's another question that occurred to me earlier. I mean, we've been sort of dabbling on this topic. How do you feel being leader versus sideman?
Well, sideman is much easier because all you have to worry about is doing the gig.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But clearly, you're the front man in a lot of gigs, and you have your own bands. Was that just out of necessity to get more work or to branch out, or do you actually not mind doing all the work that a leader entails?
Well, I like doing all the work. I mean, when I say all the work, I mean I'm not really doing all the work.
Right.
I mean, I also have a lot of talented musicians who also they also work their butts off too, but as far as being able to do the material that I want to do in the way that I want to do it, I mean, obviously having your own group, it makes it a little easier for that. It's like when you're working with Jim and you guys are thinking together, okay, this is the material we want to do,
Right.
and this is how we want to communicate it. I mean, I think what you and Jim have been doing, I mean, that stuff is great. I love it. I even love the fact that you don't even need a mic. I hate you,
I've got a big mouth.
but I love you too. But yeah, I mean, that's the obvious difference.
Right.
There's less stress when you're just a side person.
Yeah.
Sure. Hey, listen, not everyone's cut out for it. I've done the leader role maybe 5 times in my life, I think, where for some reason the call came to me to put together a gig for a wedding band or whatever, and I just it's more stress than I care for.
It's extremely stressful because
although I guess you made the point though that a lot of your leader gigs, it's your stuff. For me, it was just I was providing whatever cover music. It was nothing to do with anything that I personally was doing. So I guess that would make a big difference.
Yeah.
Well, it does make a difference, but putting together a wedding band is one of the most stressful things I've done.
Well,
And,
you have to please the bride. You have to please the bride's mother.
Yes.
And every all the guests. Make sure that it's
Plus, I can appreciate the leader's perspective of when a musician shows up like the downbeat's 9 and they're, I'm rolling in at 8:55.
You used to be the worst. You're not so bad
Hey,
anymore.
but I was ready at 8:59.
I know you were, but that was
It's horrible.
definitely,
It's horrible. It's a different thing when you're the leader waiting. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no. There's no question. You have to, and also, I mean, you put a band together, and then you get a call, which I've had these calls many times, where for one reason or another, I mean, sometimes the excuse was legit, Whereas it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do that gig, and then you have to replace them, and then you find out that, oh, that's a very popular day. I can't get anybody.
Oh my gosh,
Ooh,
yeah.
That's not a pleasant situation.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
And the other thing that amazes me about you is like you have your hand in a lot of different things, because I know you do the Steely Dan tribute band. You're a part of that. Then you were part of Mad Romance. You had your really one of the most popular wedding bands, corporate bands for a good long time. And then you were doing your Art of the Imagination and so many different things. But I guess that's the way you got to do.
Yeah.
To survive, you got to do what you got to do.
And he likes
You got to
it,
do
so
what you got to do.
More power to him.
Well, it is fun. It is fun to be able to branch out.
Now, you wrote a song called Dan, but it is spelled Daann.
Yes. It's from my 5 grandchildren. That's right. 5.
Wow.
You're lying.
Greg.
Devin, Anna, Abigail, Nathan, and Nicholas.
Wow.
That is very, very cool. How old are they now? Roughly.
The oldest is 12.
Wow. Very nice.
Yeah.
But how's that possible? You're like, what, 20 what?
29.
Okay. And so you wrote a song?
29, yes. Just
No,
don't tell them plus 30. No, don't do that.
Exactly. You wrote this song for them, yeah?
I did. It was they were, this was, I guess this was about 4 years ago. So, they were all very young, and I just envisioned children at a playground. Remember seesaws? I don't even see those anymore.
Yeah.
I think there were accidents waiting to happen. That's why you don't see them. You don't see those, and you don't see those round things that you would you would push and hold on, and all made out of metal.
You maybe we're just a little too safe now, huh?
Well, you know what? We survived. We did survive.
Gritty. Look, here we are. Exactly. And you did a performance of this. Where was it, in Boca?
It was at Joan of Arc Catholic Church. It was part of their. They were doing it wasn't specifically jazz. It wasn't a jazz concert, but they wanted. I think they ended up doing 6 concerts total, and 2 of them were jazz. So I was fortunate enough to be selected to do one of the jazz things. And I said, "You sure you want me?" And I sent them all. I sent them the album, the big band album. I sent them some small group stuff, and they said, "No, this is what we want."
Nice.
And cool. So it was very fun.
And here's that performance of Dan. For his 5 grandchildren. I think we have a technical difficulty there.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
you very much.
Very nice, very nice.
Very, very, very cool. I like it.
So we look forward to a new website, new music, right? And
Yes.
And loads of gigs.
Absolutely.
loads of gigs, and getting to hear you and see you play in person.
You know, one of the great things about this is that you're pretty much assured that no matter who you call, they're going to be available.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good chance.
That's
It's
kind
a
of sad,
real
though.
good
It's
chance.
sad. Well, thank you for letting us poke and prod.
So, oh no, it was my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I do want to
Yes.
give credit to the musicians who you just heard from. So that was Orlando
great,
Machado on the drums and the drum solo, James McCoy on the double bass, Christian Davis on guitar, and Aero Tarunen
Very, very, very
on,
cool.
on the piano.
Great group and great music. I mean, God, I'm looking forward to hearing everything that you do, because it's just very, very tasty stuff. A nice variety of music, and clearly you're ready to do more.
Yes, absolutely.
Please let me.
Well, we thank you so much for spending time with us and hanging out with us. And like I said, we look forward to more and more and more, and maybe a future, Mad Bromance get together, possibly.
I want to see that.
That would
It's
be
so
wonderful.
funny
I
how
would
many
love
how many
that.
people that to tell me how much they love the group and how sad they are that we don't do it anymore.
So you're in, yeah?
Whether
Wait a
he-
minute.
whether
Let
he
me
wants-
ask Greg. Hey, Greg. Greg, Wendy, she wants to know if you want to do a Bad Romance concert.
Yes. What's the word?
He says yes, please.
Oh, there you go. Woo!
Beautiful. He's in, ladies and
We'll
gentlemen.
see what happens. Thank you so much, Greg Diaz.
Greg Diaz. Thanks again. Take care, Greg. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Good night.
Yes, happy
Thanksgiving, everyone. Thank you so much.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Yes.
another Monday night.
Woo!
Another
And
Monday night in the books. Want to let you know what's happening.
we have
we have-
more November treat.
We have one more week in November that we're doing a show, and then it's December. But we're putting some really fun stuff together, including a holiday extravaganza.
Oh, yes, that's coming up.
With just all of our favorite people, submitting songs and brand new stuff for us to feast our ears and eyes upon.
Absolutely.
But as if this month hasn't been, incredible enough, we have next week the one, the only, the world's tallest jazz harmonica player, Hendrik Murkens, and he's gonna be playing a little bit for us. We're gonna be talking to him. We're gonna be playing videos, learning all about what it was like as a tall, young
Yes.
harmonica player in growing up in
Yeah,
Germany.
he might say one or two funny things.
Yeah,
He's a serious guy.
He's so fun.
He's a funny guy.
So we thank you as always for joining us. We want to thank our sponsors, our co-sponsors, and our co-partners in crime. All of the other South Florida Jazz Societies. We've got the Gold Coast Jazz Society. We're waiting for Nick, and Nikki's working furiously to get this up. The Gold Coast Jazz Society. We've got the
There's a joke in there somewhere.
Yeah, SouthFloridaJazz.org. We've got Sunshine Jazz, or the SJO as I like to call it, and of course Miami Jazz Cooperative. And you can find all of, we've got all kinds of, everybody's got a website, GoldCoastJazz.org, SouthFloridaJazz.org, SunshineJazz.org, and MiamiJazz.org. Check out the website. There's so much going on. Even though there's nothing going on, there's still stuff going on.
Oh, but they're going to be back in full force, right?
Absolutely. And there's a lot of exciting things in the works. We have to say, have a great week. Be careful. Whatever you're doing, be careful and stay safe. And
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. There's so much to be thankful for, and sometimes it's easy to forget that. But one we can be thankful for is the amazing talent that we have in Miami and South Florida, and the fact that you're here with us on Monday nights. We thank you so much, and we will see you again next week with Hendrik Murkens. Good night.